Good news, guys! The fan-favorite show Criminal Minds, which was shockingly discontinued back in early 2020, is set to return soon. Paramount Plus recently announced that they'll be bringing back the show to their streaming service. And get this, Emily Prentiss is coming back too. So let's take a trip down memory lane, as in this video we're going to list down the top 10 Emily Prentiss moments so far. Starting off with number 10, Season 9's Episode 14, 200. JJ and Emily's friendship is second only to that of Derek Morgan and Spencer Reid on Criminal Minds, and no episode better exemplifies their strong bond than the 200th episode of the season. Emily returned to help save JJ's life, just as JJ did for her, since only her best friend had the knowledge the BAU needed to get her back. Prentiss, who had just moved to London, dropped everything to return to the United States and did whatever it took to bring her friend JJ back home. Up next, at number 9, Season 3's Episode 5, 7 Seconds. Similar to other episodes of Criminal Minds, 7 Seconds centers on kidnapping. Prentiss takes control early on. She began interviewing family members and poking holes in their testimonies in order to piece together what happened. While securing a compromise from the unsub, Emily showed not only her ability to be brutal with a stubborn offender, but also her keen ability to recognize patterns and nuances in evidence. This solidified her place as a top-tier profiler. Moving on to number 8, Season 4, Episode number 3, Minimal Loss. Minimal Loss is a great example of the dynamic between Reid and Prentiss, who often share the spotlight in one another's greatest episodes. In order to save as many people as they could from a hostage situation, Spencer and Emily drew up all the skills they gained from their training and used them to get out. In this episode, Prentiss proved that she can care for the innocent individuals she swore to protect, even when she was under intense pressure to maintain control of a situation in which circumstances were changing by the second. Coming up at number 7, Season 12's Episode 22, Red Light. Even while Emily has always been a capable leader, her performance in Red Light solidified her position as the BAU's top dog. Emily had to break conventional methods and be ready to absorb the fallout when Kat took Reid away and JJ defended him. The final showdown between Emily and Mr. Scratch, which had been developing for some time, was finally established in this episode. It was the first time in a while that the team faced up against a truly formidable villain. With any luck, this episode will serve to further develop her role in the next series. Up next, at number 6, Season 2's Episode 10, Lesson Learned. A fearless protagonist from the start, Emily Prentiss had been one of the show's pillars ever since her debut. Prentiss, who was the newest addition to the BAU team, didn't take long to show her tenacity and expertise in the field of international crime. Prentiss, who grew up with her diplomat mother in a foreign country, displays her worth in Season 2's Lessons Learned when she stuns the squad with her fluency in Arabic. When she subsequently read her unsub, Jind Allah's actions. After more investigation, we discovered that she was also conversant in Spanish and Italian and has a working knowledge of Russian. Prentiss showed fans that this new member was up for any task. By fighting back when Gideon gave her the cold shoulder on their first assignment, she solidified herself as a fan favorite. Moving on to the top 5. At number 5, Season 7's Episode 7, Run. Similar to the first part of the episode, Emily shows her ability to recognize the tells of an unsub and the value of her past connections. Despite being one of Emily's best episodes, the finale's second half provided the viewers with one of JJ's most memorable moments in the series. Though JJ was too distraught to make rational decisions, Emily was able to step in and help her. She made sure her child was secure and the bad guys were taken care of, while JJ composed herself. Also in the same episode, she defuses not one but 2 bombs. Wonder Woman who? Next at number 4, Season 7's Episode 25, Hit. Even though her team is still upset with her for faking her own death, in the first part of the 2-part Season 7 finale of Hit Run, Emily shows that her history is a vital asset to her current team. After Will is abducted by the bank robbers they're pursuing, Emily continues to focus on the case and be there for JJ. She remained steadfast, although she was fighting her past, present, and future at the same time. Given the major perpetrator's techniques, the case would have gone cold without Emily. Coming up next at number 3, Season 2, Episode 11, Sex, Birth, and Death. In Episode 11, viewers got to know Emily on a deeper level than they did in Episode 10, when she was formally presented as a team member. Prentiss displays how dedicated she is to her work as an agent, as she immediately puts Hoach in his place when he questioned her integrity. This episode focuses on how Prentiss builds up rapport with the victims of the crime she's working on, and what she does in order to find witnesses and sources that can help her solve the case. Moving on to number 2, Season 3's Episode episode 20, Lo-Fi. Once the squad is dispatched to New York City to investigate a string of deaths, Prentiss must prove that her strategy has been effective in the past. She doesn't get defensive, as the rest of her crew does. In fact, she ends up proving to the naysayers that profiling is indeed effective by putting their ideas into action. Despite only having just met, Emily was deeply affected by Cooper's shooting, which will add depth to her character arc in future episodes, marking the finale of the season as one of the most tense episodes of the series. Finally, at number 1, Season 6's Episode 18, Lauren. The plotline that led up to Lauren exposed Prentiss's long-buried background and how it ultimately caught up with her. Despite the episode's primary focus on Emily and her efforts to safeguard the team, JJ's return after an absence was a highlight. Since the Reaper case centered on Hoach, the series had not explored the stealthy aspect of Prentiss until this narrative, and it provided an intensity that was never seen before. Now let's discuss everything we know about the latest installment of Criminal Minds. Starting off, in comes Criminal Minds Evolution. At the Paramount Plus TCA conference, showrunner Erica Messer revealed that the first season contains 10 episodes, examining what the characters have been up to since the cancellation of the show back in February 2020. She further expressed how lucky she was to have Zach Gilford bring this one-of-a-kind unsub to life, and to have so many familiar BAU agents back on the show. The BAU, like many workplaces, has undergone some change. The past few years have made the team depend on each other a lot more, and that's a very good thing, because in the premiere, they're going to discover that there's been a serial killer on the loose since 2005, and he's gone rampant during the pandemic. Up next, what's so new about the reboot? Paramount Plus's new version of Criminal Minds, like CBS's CSI Vegas, would likely focus on a single overarching case throughout the season, rather than a new mystery each week. It will continue to follow the profilers who work for the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, also known as the BAU, continuing to examine behavior and profiles to find federal criminals known as unsubs. As for the cast, some of the BAU regulars from season 15 will return, while some newcomers will join the team for this new season. This includes Aisha Tyler, Adam Rodriguez, and Paget Brewster, who are all in negotiations for the upcoming season. Sadly, there will be no Matthew Gray Gubler to play Dr. Spencer Reed. Lastly, can we expect the show to have a different tone? When talking about the tone of the show, Messer said that she's fully aware of the fact that this show has a teen audience, and now that her kids, who were born during the show, are in high school, which is why she's more alert than before. She imagines that they'd have a reaction if they realized that she had written something scary. She further added that she was always conscious of that fact, which is why she resisted the urge to introduce any shockingly violent or otherwise drastically altered plot points, which would have made the show feel like a completely different animal. When talking about the language used in the show, she elaborated that some of the choice phrases the protagonist used in the pilot episode are justified by the circumstances they're trying to cope with, especially considering Joe's personality, who drops a few F-bombs. She said, "It just sounds normal. It sounds like what they would have been saying all along." So that part I'm kind of excited about, because I feel like the dialogue feels more authentic in that sense of law enforcement. And that's a wrap for this video. What did you think of our top 10? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.